You're watching KITV Island News at 6. Remembering Pearl Harbor is brought to you by Akamai Pest Solutions, Hawaii Honda Dealers, and Pearl Hawaii Federal Credit Union.
Today we have a precious opportunity to reflect on what it means to be a patriot, to reflect on what it means to be a nation tested by war, and to reflect on both the costs and the blessings of liberty.
America honors the greatest generation. The bombing of Pearl Harbor happened exactly 75 years ago today. Thousands of lives lost right here in Hawaii. It also marked the beginning of our country's entry into World War II. I'm Mike Cherry.
And thanks so much for joining us. I'm Yenji Denise. It is the moment that changed the course of history, not just for those here in Hawaii, but truly around the world. And today, a special ceremony to remember all that was lost. In the stillness of the water surrounding the USS Arizona Memorial this morning, you could see the reflection of the clear sky above, a sky remarkably similar to the one on this day 75 years ago.
The sun was warm, the clouds were high, and all things considered, the day was perfect.
Perfection shattered as Japanese warplanes descended on Pearl Harbor, unleashing chaos that Sunday morning, launching the U.S. into war.
At that dawn's early light, they ran to battle stations and to the sound of the guns as they moved boldly to begin the defense of our country.
It was 7:55 a.m. And at that exact time today, a moment of silence, followed by fighter jets overhead in the missing man flyover formation. One aircraft missing, representing the thousands who lost their lives.
Their ghosts walk amongst us. Their spirits speak to us. Protect this house. This we'll defend.
In this crowd, survivors of that fateful day from all branches of the military, honored for their heroics. There are just 5 USS Arizona survivors still living. 4 of them made the journey here, including 94-year-old Donald Stratton. The then 19-year-old was burned on over 60% of his body, but he continued to fight on that day and beyond, re-enlisting a year after the attack. That bravery and the courage of so many others highlighted today.
A free nation cannot survive without those who are willing to place service to country ahead of service to self.
Perhaps the most moving tribute came without words, but with music. The sound of taps filling the air, the sun shining brightly on the USS Arizona Memorial.
The memorial you see across the harbor is a symbol of hope. It is a symbol of respect and resilience. It touches the best and greatest ideals in all of our hearts.
Hearts filled with love of country and respect for the fallen.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
That iconic speech remembered by many still today, delivered by then President Franklin D. Roosevelt the day after Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. Now, the attacks came as a surprise. What started as a quiet Sunday morning in the islands quickly turned to chaos. KITV's Jordan Segundo takes us through what happened on that fateful day.
At 6 a.m., more than 200 miles north of Hawaii, the first wave of Japanese warplanes take off from a carrier and head straight to the islands.
They had gathered a force of 350 planes and launched 2 waves against these facilities.
At 6:45, the U.S. destroyer Ward aims at a Japanese submarine detected at the entrance of Pearl Harbor and fires the first shots of the U.S.-Japanese war.
30 minutes later, at about 7:02, upon a radar site, which is on the north shore where Kahuku is, they will pick up a large formation of planes coming in. They don't know it, but they've detected the Japanese first strike force.
At 7:55, the attack begins. The intended target for Japan, U.S. battleships and aircrafts.
This was really the attack on Oahu, really not the attack on Pearl Harbor. It was the attack on the Pacific Fleet here. But our airfields at Hickam, Wheeler, Bellows, the naval air stations at Kaneohe Bay and here at Pearl Harbor all come under attack.
The first wave of attack has American forces reeling. Then shortly before 9, a second wave of Japanese warplanes strike.
Eva Field, which is not more than a couple miles from here in Marine Base, they simply reduced our ability to even respond by knocking out 80% of our aircraft.
The barrage sank 5 U.S. battleships, 8 more were damaged, hundreds of aircrafts were lost, and when the attacks finally ended shortly before 10 a.m., more than 2,403 servicemen and civilians had been killed. More than 1,000 were wounded, leaving December 7th, 1941, a day that will live in infamy. Jordan Segundo, KITV Island News.
Of course, Pearl Harbor is remembered in history books and documentaries. Photographs tell the story in grainy black and white, but history may share vivid stories firsthand. Those moments are special, but becoming increasingly rare.
People also talk in terms about a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I frame this in the context of it's a last-in-a-lifetime opportunity, because at the next 100th ceremony, in 2041, we won't have these wonderful survivors with us to share their stories directly.
We would think about all of the Hawaiians who were also part of that day and how much they contributed to that day and to the recovery of that day.
Fewer than 200 survivors stationed at Pearl Harbor are still alive. Many were in attendance at that ceremony today.
Well, happening right now, the Pearl Harbor Memorial Parade just got underway in Waikiki.
KITV's Priscilla Luong joining us live near Fort DeRussy, where the first entries stepped off just minutes ago. Priscilla.
Mike and Yunji, good evening. A very exciting day here in Waikiki. Everyone's getting ready to step off for the parade right now on Kalakaua Avenue. The streets are lined with people from across the country and really around the world, from Fort DeRussy all the way down to Kapiolani Park. Parade organizers told us that there are 103 entries in this year's parade. Some of the participants flew in from the East Coast to be part of the 75th commemoration activities. The Grand Marshals this year, of course, are our Pearl Harbor survivors, and also Gary Sidney, who played Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump. His organization has done tremendous work to help our veterans. The parade, once again, runs from Fort DeRussy down to Kapiolani Park. And just a reminder, there are street closures in place. Kalakaua Avenue is closed at the Kuhio Avenue split, so traffic will be detoured onto Kuhio Avenue while everyone enjoys the parade. And of course, we will bring you some more sights and sounds from the parade once it gets underway throughout the show. Live in Waikiki, Priscilla Luong, KITV Island News.
Thank you, Priscilla. Local schools honoring the past and inspiring the future with a history lesson that hits close to home for some.
KITV's Melody Gonzalez shows us how students are remembering Pearl Harbor.
December 7th, 2016, 7:55 a.m. 75 years to the minute, Hawaii came under attack, and now more than 650 students and faculty at Damien Memorial School fell silent to reflect on that horrific day.
I was kind of in awe because I was just thinking about how over the entire island there were probably almost 1 million people doing the same thing.
Student Nora Fenton says today hits close to home.
It happened right near my house, so especially on this day it's really important for me to think about it and reflect on it.
Fenton lives on the Pearl Harbor base just right across from Battleship Bro and says it's important to remember all the men who gave their lives 75 years ago.
It's one thing to learn history in class. It's one thing to hear about things that happened miles down the road. It's another thing to be connected to it.
And not too far down the road, Farrington High School students were taught all about their school's important role on that fateful day.
If you were fortunate, that was what you heard.
Just shock. Lots of shock.
The school held an assembly inside its newly renovated auditorium, sharing with its students Farrington's side of the story.
The school here became a hospital. We used to have bomb shelters right in an amphitheater.
Historic photos, videos, and even artifacts explain the history of it all.
75. But, you know, it's still in my heart.
Inspiring the future, but never forgetting the past. Melody Gonzalez, KITV Island News.
Well, time to take a look outside. The weather was perfect for Pearl Harbor activities today, but that will change.
But hopefully the parade will stay dry. Let's get our first forecast from Paul Drews. Paul.
Well, it should stay dry, but it will be on the cloudy side. Take a look. This is what it looks like right now. The sun going down on a mostly cloudy evening here on Oahu and for other areas around the state. We'll see increasing clouds throughout the night, and along with cloud cover, we are expecting an increase in showers for tomorrow. Thick, high and mid-level clouds being pulled up and over the state. A reason for that, we do have unsettled weather off to the west of the island chain, and upper-level winds going around that are helping to pull up those clouds. It will also help to make our atmosphere more unstable over the next few days, and what that will do is spark more showers, possibly some heavy rain over the next few days as well. As we take a look at our rain forecast, spotty showers with us for Thursday and into Friday as well. A look at our forecast, mostly cloudy for northern islands. There will be some sunshine for southern islands. Scattered showers with heavy rain possible, and with southeasterly winds once again, more muggy weather ahead. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Paul. Well, still ahead tonight, extending rail's timetable.
Nearly $3 billion separate the project's proposed budget and the money it has on hand. How much longer of a leash the FTA is giving HART to balance those books.
And they came from near and far. We hear from the hundreds of visitors who paid their respects at the Pearl Harbor Visitors Center. Stay with us.
136,000 people.